This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Tuesday, September 24th, 2019, episode 245. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Of course, visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. Joining me as he does each and every week. I think we're wearing almost matching colored shirts, bro. Well, no, yours is a little bit different.
No, mine's gray. Sorry. Maybe it's the lighting.
No, I don't think it's not. I'm just stupid. Brian with an I. Not stupid. He took the I out of stupid. Brian with an I. Brian with the I.
I took it for myself. Is that what you're trying to say?
You did. You're the king of it. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hey, if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, my blog, biteoftech.com, and our website, if you want to go check out all the patch notes. One thing we do leave in our website every single week are patch notes for various episodes that we do. So we'll be having a lot of different things we're talking about today. So make sure you go to infectionpodcast.com. Check out the patch notes for this episode. We'll have videos and just a lot of stuff on there. Also on the right-hand side, you see where it says join our Discord server. If you click that, there's a place where you can submit news to us each and every week. We do refer to every article and everything that's in there to see if it's something that's relevant to the show. And we do, if you want to get something into the show, that's the best way to do it. We also have various channels. Workout channel if you're looking for encouragement for working out, keeping healthy, and we have just places that we play video games throughout the week. If you want to join the Steam group, we do a live notification right before the show starts. You can go on there, click join our Steam group right before 5-10 minutes before we go live. I'll put out a little notification. If you happen to be at your computer, you can jump on and join us live, have a chance at the game giveaways, and have a lot of fun with that. And we enjoy, that's one of the best parts of this, is interacting with the chat. We have our YouTube channel on there, Twitch, and our Mixer link. Or if you want to go and you're listening to this after the fact, you want to get the audio-only version, click one of the links down in the lower right, and for whatever device you have, we will have a link to it. So
absolutely.
I think that is it.
I do want to thank our friend Judd for the fantastic artwork last week, the infection-infected scented candle.
Nice.
Which was something that only the people on the live stream knew about last week, but it made for good show art. So if you've got any if you want to submit show art, I don't know, if you want to submit something, just send it to us on Discord, and it makes my life a lot easier. I don't have to make an image. So so thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. We do have a whole bunch of people to thank. And I want to say, if we missed your name, let us know, because we're having an issue getting all of our notifications in one unified place. So resubscriptions between this week and last week, our buddy Landgun, Green Man Cartoons, The Sauce Boss, Big Woody Sauce, TechZone 707, our buddy Sean Gadamus, and right before we started the recorded show, he hit us up in our pre-show, our buddy USAF Zombie. So I want to thank all of those individuals for hitting us up with either the first-time subscription or the resubscription here on Twitch, and funded our PAX West trip, and hopefully it will fund some of our future endeavors to other events, E3, Gamescom, other things that we are trying to work out here over the next couple of years. So thanks for all your support on all that. We greatly appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. And then, and I do want to mention, I think I mentioned it last week as well, all of our PAX content is up on YouTube. So all of the videos are there. I know we showed them all on the show, but all of those are up there. So if you missed one, or you want to go back and watch it, or want to send it to somebody, they're all individually uploaded, so you don't have to scrub through a show to find it. So that was PAX West. That's a full wrap on our PAX coverage, and we're looking forward to some other events next year. Maybe PAX, maybe not. And we'll know more about that in the coming months as things materialize. So with that being the case, Brian, we got a lot of stuff, and I mean a lot, to go into this week. Most of it is not survival game stuff, but there's just a lot of big gaming news this week. And I do want to start off with something before I get into that. I want to talk about Game of the Week. We're back. Game of the Week's back. Brian stiffed us 2 weeks ago, didn't show up, said he was going to be there, but he'll be here this week, right? Is that confirmed?
Yes, last week I was in Las Vegas.
I'm not talking about last week.
Week before that, I was playing hockey.
Well,
in preparation for Las Vegas.
And
this week I can't think of a good excuse, so I will be there this week.
Excellent. So we're playing Dead by Daylight again. You can say, "Oh, we just played Dead by Daylight." Well, first of all, most people didn't show up for Dead by Daylight, so I don't really care about your complaint. But if you did show up at Dead by Daylight, it's double blood points weekend. So you get double the XP for every match you play, and with the new DLC out, the Stranger Things DLC, it's a perfect opportunity to get in the game and level up your new characters. If you purchase the DLC, you have 2 new survivors and a new killer, and get those killers and survivors leveled up rapidly by getting double blood points. So coming up this Friday night, our Infection podcast game of the week will be Dead by Daylight. We'll be playing somewhere between 7:30 and 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll get everybody together and we'll play for a couple hours, get some blood points, do some, we could do some 5-man games, but we don't get XP for those. And on a double blood point weekend, we'll probably just do some smaller groups and run things around like that. So we'd love to have you. We'd appreciate you showing up for that. So Dead by Daylight is this Friday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern-ish in our Discord. So check out that, and we'd love to see you on Friday for that. So with that being the case, now I want to talk about something else, Brian, which unfortunately you being out of town missed out on. I wish you hadn't, so we could talk about it a little bit. But the Call of Duty beta. Now, last week, I said I was going to try the PC, but I was getting it on the PlayStation 4. That was very ill-advised. The PC version of this game was awesome. I had a really, really good time. I was able to get my character up to level 30, which was the max player level cap. At one point, we were running 6 or 7-man groups, and they with their ground war game mode and some of their other game modes. And I really was impressed with how Call of Duty played on the PC. I think everybody, but I'm trying to remember who the one individual was that was still going to get it on. Still going to get it on PlayStation. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I'll see if I can find it through our Discord. But almost everybody was pretty unanimous in their support for the PC version. It was our buddy MDC said he was still going to get it on PlayStation. But almost everybody else was in agreement that the just the stability, the play, here's the thing, and I don't want to
something about the mouse and the keyboard as well. Like,
yeah, well, it's an advantage.
That was the big, that was the big difference because they're doing with crossplay. This is something we've discussed before.
Yeah,
how are you going to in a game like that make it to where you can crossplay between console and a PC? Without compromising for one or the other, I just don't see how you can do it.
And I'm not a great player, so maybe I don't notice it as much as other people do. But I didn't know. Now, I couldn't tell at any point. I wasn't like, oh, this guy is clearly on the console. It shows you in lobby what people are on. Now, you can turn off crossplay in the settings. So if you don't want to play with people out of your platform, you don't have to. So if you want to play it on PlayStation and don't want to play with PC or Xbox players, you don't have to. Which is good.
And they have a big enough player base to where you're not gonna get dead lobbies.
No, correct. But I was very impressed with it, and I did a big conversation on it last week. I don't want to waste too much time with it. We got a lot to get into, but I was very impressed with the Call of Duty beta on PC. Everybody else I played with, Lance is saying the beta was good. Ross says it was really stable. He was really impressed with it. I'm getting it on PC. I was sold by the beta this weekend rather, that this is going to be a game I'm going to, and I purchased the last one on PC, but nobody ever played it because the blackout mode was kind of lame. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I'll be picking it up on the PC. It launches here in a month. The 25th of October is when it launches, which is a lot earlier than usual. It's normally like mid-November. So that is...
and that's on a Friday. So
it is on a Friday.
The weekend of it.
So that'll be Game of the Week on October 25th. I got to figure out if I could take a day off work. I don't know if that's a good idea. New job. It's important things.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter. So we'll go ahead and do that. Ross is taking the week off. So that's a good approach. So that's what we're going to do. If you're interested in playing the game, we're going to be playing it on PC. If you want to join us, make sure you're in our Discord. We'll get all synced up on battle.net, which is where you play it. And we'd love to have you. I think it's going to take away my League of Legends and Dead by Daylight thing for a little while, because it's going to be COD all the time. So I'm looking forward to it. And the beta was really good. I really don't. There was a couple issues with it, but nothing that is unfixable.
That's to be expected.
Absolutely. That's why you do betas. So good on Activision, and I'm hoping that finally we can have competitive Call of Duty on the PC, where it's not only a console game. So that is, and it runs really smoothly, even on somewhat older hardware, which is cool. So, all right, there it is, and that's all I have to say about the Call of Duty beta.
All right. So, do you have a preference of where we go?
No, sir. We got a lot of stuff in here.
Well, so let's go ahead and, man, there's a lot of different options, but let's start off with a game that we were, a month ago said, I don't think this game is going to come out. And we talked a little bit about it, but they have finally, PlanetSide Arena has announced, it's going to be free to play, which I was not expecting, which they said it was not going to be free to play.
They did.
Originally, they said this is going to be a paid-for game. It's going to have a certain price. But then when I pulled up the Steam page when they published it, it said free to play. Mm-hmm. So they've totally reworked that. And also, they're kind of going back to this old style. Right now, of course, Steam's down. But
yeah, I was just trying to load that too.
But one thing that they're doing is they're doing bundles now. And they're doing what they've done previously with Daybreak Games, is having like a $50 bundle and like a $30 bundle, and that'll be the two ways that you pay for the game. So they will, because we were saying, well, how are they going to fill a lobby? First of all, how are they going to fill a lobby with a game that there's a free version of it? It's not going to be this exact one, but people are playing. Just because people are playing that other game doesn't mean they're going to move over and pay for this. That very rarely happens, and I didn't think they were going to. And it looks like they kind of realized that wasn't going to happen either, because I didn't hear any fanfare about it. Just pretty much they put the page up and said free to play, and then had some things in their FAQ about it, and that was it.
Well, if we want to talk about, I'll skip ahead to current players for a second. What would you guess? So this game just came out, right? Brand new game. That's typically when games have their highest player total, right? I mean, that's kind of the way it works. What would you guess their all-time player peak was when this came out 5 days ago?
5,000?
No.
Higher?
No.
Oh, 1,000?
1,500 is their high. And now, by the way, this is an MMO for all intents and purposes. This is a large-scale PvP battle-ish, battle royale, hybrid PlanetSide 2 style of game. And their all-time peak players was 1,506. It's got 44% of the reviews are positive on Steam, which make 55% of them negative. And there are currently 300 people playing right now. So
okay, so this is a free-to-play game.
Yep.
A title that has a
two
player base.
Two previous player bases, yeah.
So two previous player bases, and they're barely getting any time. If you look at right now, the reviews are mixed. So the pages are coming up now.
Excellent.
Thank you, Steam. That they heard that we were trying to get in there. So and so what they do is they have the legendary edition for $50, and then they have the recruit edition for $20. And on there they do have kind of an image of what these look like, and it's pretty much just skins for various vehicles and things like that. Let me make sure. I don't know if I put that link in there, but you can see they have some skins for the various players.
Wow.
And then they have a vehicle, which, I mean, it doesn't look wonderful to me. It's just, I don't know if I would pay $50 for some of these different things. So it just, I don't know. I don't know. Based off of where they're at right now, I just don't see this title continuing. I mean, knowing Daybreak, how long do you think they're going to keep this going?
Yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily speculate on the length of the game yet, but I mean it's got very, very poor player numbers right off the bat. And I've seen a couple people on my friends list playing it, but overall, 1,500.
That's more of a trying it out, unless it's something that is really a lot better than people are expecting, and then people will say, "Hey, come and play this; it's great."
Yeah,
that's the only way this is going to turn around. If
Yeah.
it's not anything that's spectacular, people are going to be like, "Yeah," and they're not going to launch it again.
Well, I mean, I haven't done this yet, but I guess we can do it real quick here. I wasn't planning on it. Let's take a look at some of the reviews. So here's, I mean, take this for what it's worth. There's Steam reviews. In the brief time I played, I found that the game to be enjoyable enough. However, the limited field of view control compared to PlanetSide 2 and the complete lack of ultra-wide 21:9 support. That's a huge issue. A lot of people have ultra-wide monitors. Complete lack of 21:9 support, black bars on the sides, will mostly have me avoiding the game. Pros. Looks amazing aesthetically, speaking despite some graphical issues. Fun to play with a bunch of friends. That's very similar to PlanetSide 2. Fun to explore the changes in the map if you've played PlanetSide 2. That's another cool thing. Combat feels solid, especially compared to PS2. Vehicles added a nice change of pace, especially in the larger squad modes. You can now control vehicle rotation in the air, and you do not drop in absolutely useless without any weapons or armor like in most Battle Royale games. Okay, cons. Loot boxes with mods for armor and weapons that affect gameplay. Always a red flag. Issue. You can't be doing that. There is a rather jarring depth of field effect on everything beyond a certain range. That would likely be due to the engine, if I had to guess, and the inability.
And they're
of
probably
the engine.
trying to get a cool looking effect in this that they're obviously not pulling off correctly.
Yeah. Objects popping in and out of existence in the distance. That would be a rendering issue with level of LOD based on where you're standing and how that's all rendered. Vehicles feel janky. The physics are a bit weird. If your teammates aren't communicating, it can be very, very frustrating. That's most any game like this. The push talk default key is Z, which is rather awkward. That's stupid. You can change it. No quick call out menus like in PlanetSide 2 to account for the communication issues. This is something that Fortnite, PUBG, and Apex all have now. The ping system, and that this is all coming from Apex, who was the first one to really do it well. And the UI is a bit hard to understand when spectating. I would love to recommend the game, this game, as I had a decent time playing it. But if when the new game smell runs out, there's issues are still a thing. I'm going to have a hard time keeping. It's going to have a hard time keeping people playing it. So take that for what it's worth. That's just one review. Here's some cons from another guy here who has about an hour. It was kind of boring. The hit detection wasn't good. Aiming seemed broken. Bullets don't go where you point. Includes pay-to-win loot boxes. Wink, wink. Again, lots of bugs. Players are very spread out, causing you to only be able to get a kill every few minutes at the best. No massive fights. The vehicles are kind of janky. That's what that other guy said. And then 99% of the assets are copy and pasted from PlanetSide 2. Overall, it's just a poorly made generic battle royale with a few vehicles. So,
well, one thing, they're not filling the lobbies either, because if they've got less than 500 players, this is supposed to be a 1,000 player plus single match game.
There's 325 people playing right now.
Yeah, and what it is the match sizes, it says in squads, the match sizes will be capped at 300 players. So that's 25 teams of 12.
Yeah.
Well, they have various game modes, and so they're barely over the one lobby worth of filled. And so, and that's, and I wonder if you go in there, are you having to wait for a complete game to finish before you launch, which is possible, or you're going in with half empty lobbies? So let's say you're in one of the ones that has 300 players, you're going in with 150. That'll make it feel empty. It's not going to feel like it should, how they designed it. It's a big map.
Here's a guy says he's got 20 hours. He must just be leaving it open. He says the game is good. Here's another guy that says, honestly, I had low expectations for the game overall. However, it's an engaging and unique experience. It's not PlanetSide 2, and it's not a standard BR. So it may have a hard time finding a niche audience, but it was fun for what it is. The action is slow at first, but builds up, and the end of the game feels like a sci-fi battlefield experience. The graphics are better than expected, and it runs at a minimum of 120 FPS on my specs. It feels like a great foundation for a unique sci-fi shooter. Reminds me of Angels Fall First, but with people to play with. So that was a positive recommendation. Here's another guy that says it was good, but it's still, obviously it's still very early access. Incredibly fun game. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but the reviews are split. They're under split, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They're split 50-50. Half the people that play it say it's good. Half the people that play it say it's garbage, and the best part of the game was uninstalling it. So with that being the case, this is going to be a tough sell, Brian. I read one of the reviews that didn't I didn't read, but kind of skimmed through, was a guy talking about how they didn't put the word Battle Royale in the title, but that's what it was. And that if people, now I'm not faulting them, but if you do read the description, it says dive into PlanetSide Arena and battle online in this massive multiplayer sci-fi arena shooter. Choose your class, fuel your jetpack, and drop in the fray on a war-torn landscape. If you want to come out on top, you'll have to go all in to rule the arena. It doesn't say
but it does have a battle royale tag.
It does.
In Steam.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I'm not saying. And if you
but
follow,
they seem to be trying to distance themselves from that concept,
which is a smart concept, because people don't want to play battle royale games. So but that could end up working against them, because people that don't follow, you got to remember, if you're listening to the show right now, and our friend Kramit, I guess, has played it, he says, I haven't had any issues with graphics while playing. Kramit, I'd be curious to hear what your opinion on the game is in general. But this is kind of a double-edged sword, Brian, right? Saying it's not a BR game because the BR is BR burnout, right? It's kind of stale. People don't want to play BRs. Some people don't.
And then they start comparing it to other BRs.
Correct. But on the flip side of it, you don't call your game a BR. People have only ever played PlanetSide 2. They hop into PlanetSide Arena. It doesn't say in the description it's Battle Royale. I'm not faulting Daybreak. I'm just saying people like us are weird. People don't read notes, patch notes. They see the game, they see free to play, they install it. I mean, that's what's going on. They install it, or they get in there and they say, "Oh Jesus, this is another Battle Royale." They say that this is not what I want. And I, I'm going to move on and uninstall this. So it's kind of a coin flip in terms of the Battle Royale front. Is this a good idea to not market it as a Battle Royale, even though it's kind of a hybrid? Or is it a good idea to not label it because of the negative connotation with Battle Royale? Did that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? What are your thoughts?
Well, one thing they do is they have almost a year to figure this out, because they're not actually releasing this until Q2 2020.
Yeah, and they've already delayed it a bunch too. It was delayed a year from.
They were supposed to be out in quarter one
supposed to be out in like January.
Yeah, they're supposed to be out Q1 of this year. So they've delayed it over a year, but they'll have some time to kind of play test how much crossover is there between other BRs and our game currently? Like, what's our primary player base? I don't know that this being the main downside I would see of them putting the word BR anywhere in the description or title other than that one tag would be that this is going to get compared to other BRs. And I don't think they want to be compared to Fortnite. I don't think they want to be compared to any of these other major titles that are coming out right now, or that have been out for a while now, because visually the other ones look better. Mechanically, they work better. Just all the aspects that you could go down a checklist of saying this, and this, let's compare these. I can almost guarantee you they're probably going to operate better on one of those other games. So they have to go with this whole concept of the one thing that's unique for them that other ones haven't. We had Mavericks who was going to try it, but 1,000-person BR that I can't think of other than PlanetSide 2, anything that's been able to really pull that off. And so I think that's going to be what they're going to have to, if they can get it to where it actually performs well. You have 1,000 players and it operates like a BR. They can say, well, we're not really the BR that you're thinking of. We're unique because, look, we have 1,000 players. What other BR has 1,000 players at once?
So let me try to read through what Kramit said here. And as Lance calls it, the Infection exclusive insider review from our buddy Kramit. He says it feels like PlanetSide 2, but in a quicker, smaller area, larger size battles, but after a while looting and moving through the map. Honestly, it feels pretty good and runs fine on my system without taxing it up, it seems. However, it does feel like PlanetSide 2 in my opinion, but it's a quicker version of it with a beginning and an end rather than a forever going. In PlanetSide 2, the battle never ends. Once the server is on, it just plays forever, and different groups take control, and then people log off, and it doesn't ever end. I think it also depends a lot on the teams that you deal with, and if teams you deal with, if you enjoy it, because you will get blown out very easily. Overall, haven't had many software/hardware issues to complain about. So this is what I'd challenge you with, Brian. Well, not challenge. This is what I'd recommend to you and to everybody else. Next Friday, let's play this. Not this Friday, because we're playing Dead by Daylight with the blood points, because it's a special weekend. But next Friday, why don't we play it? It's a free game.
Well,
right?
hopefully they'll have some. Yeah, hopefully they'll have some patches out.
Yeah,
some of these initial bugs. We know how it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first week you'll have some game-breaking bugs. Hopefully by next week, a week and a half from now, it will be fairly stable, and we can go and see. It may be better than we expect. It's hard to say.
So that will be October 4th. Will be that game of the week. So we'll mention that again next week. But let's give the devil his due.
Yeah,
and give it a shot. So.
Peggy 18.
That is not what I meant to do. Yeah. That's my word of approval. So with that being the case, I would say let's just give it a shot. So there's PlanetSide Arena, 1,560 players where there was their peak, but we'll give it a shot, and hopefully you'll join us next Friday for that. So that is
very good.
That is PlanetSide Arena.
All right. There's one thing I just wanted to mention really quick.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. Cyberpunk, I noticed they were on the Epic Store page.
Okay,
and so a lot of people were probably assuming, well, is this going to be one of those Epic exclusives? And a lot of the different bigger titles that you've seen on Epic Store has been an Epic exclusive. But with Cyberpunk, I think it's a big enough title. It is not. So just for people that are wondering, if you see it on the Epic Store, it is not Epic Store exclusive. They will have it on Steam, GOG, all these other places. So you will be able to purchase it through those. But of course, it is for sale right now as far as pre-sale on the Epic Store. And so I was going through and looking at that, and I was like, I haven't heard that they're Epic exclusive, and I'd be surprised if they would tie themselves to that. They don't need the money. Whatever money Epic's offering them, they don't need. It's a big enough studio, but they will have it on there, and all these other various sources that you want to go to. So I just thought I would mention that, because I saw that and I had to kind of do a little bit of research just to make sure that there wasn't an announcement I missed on that being the case.
Well,
so,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to talk about something that just got announced earlier today at Xbox's Insider thing. Xbox and Sony now both did an event today. The Sony one was called Status of something, and I don't remember what the Xbox one was called. But it's an announcement in DayZ, and there's actually a new map coming out for DayZ. And we've got our first look at this map now. I haven't seen this yet. It just aired apparently at the event. So let's take a look at what DayZ's got to offer with their new map. All right, so there it is. You can see the new DayZ map, Livonia, I think is how it's pronounced. And it
Livonia.
Livonia.
Livonia, yeah.
Livonia, I guess.
Livonia? I don't know. It's like some Russian, probably.
Livonia, Livonia. there it is, and it is coming to the PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4. It is 163 kilometers squared, and it is now the second official map. And they say after 5 years of Chernarus, which is the base map, they are going to be bringing a new map into the game. It will have things like bears and yeah.
One thing I was going to mention is this is actually, I think, smaller than the original DayZ map. Right?
Okay. I don't remember.
But I remember how much water was around the original DayZ map.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I think this map doesn't have all that dead space around the outside. And so I bet you that playable area, that's one thing you really have to compare it to playable area, because I think the original DayZ map was 220 kilometers squared, but there was a third of it was water. So I think that on this, it may not be bigger, but it will be pretty close to the actual map size of Chernarus.
Yeah, and obviously they talk about the things that they've learned. I'm shocked by DayZ still. It does not have... I honestly do not know anybody that plays the game. Maybe it's really popular on consoles, but every time I've looked at it on PC,
yeah,
I mean, it's got a good player base. It's got a couple thousand people that play it. I mean, it's got like 7,000 people playing right now. That's a decent sized player base, but these guys do a bunch of work, and are constantly doing things across all these different platforms. Their 1 week peak is 14,000. And now, we look at a game like Miscreated, it's only got 1,500 players. I get it, but just DayZ in itself is just really bizarre to me. Ross says, I would put my life on DayZ still being a broken disaster of a game. Haven't touched it in 6 years. Typical broken dev process. Instead of fixing the game, just make a new map and people will spend money. So, yeah, I mean, we've tried DayZ a number of times. Even relatively recently, like probably within the last year or so. And it's just not been a good experience. I did play it on the Xbox when it got announced as part of the game early insider game program or whatever it is for Microsoft when they announced that. And it was all right. I showed a video. I played it for a couple hours and it was fine. But yeah, new map, which is interesting. It's interesting to see what the devs are doing with DayZ, and they're continuing their trek onward. And they've obviously learned a lot since Chernarus, and they're moving up. So,
well, and currently the game is $45 still, which they haven't really budged on the price very much since launch.
Yeah,
they officially, launched December 13th of 2018. So it's been a year and a half. Actually, no, that'd be only half a year. Sorry.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Right? That says they launched, right?
1.0.
December 13th, 1.0. So, it hasn't been that long, but their reviews are mixed. There's not a ton of people playing. So
7,000 players, nothing to bat an eye at. But in terms of this game, compared to what it was with Arma 2 and the DayZ mod, and I get it, that was 2014. It was a different time, but it does not. It's a skeleton of what it was.
But I would think that these players are probably the ones, you probably have people that are consistently playing it. So it's not like there's a high turnover in those 6,000 people. You get people that are playing for hours. So I think the actual individuals that are playing would be lower than another type of game that has 6,000 concurrent. So that, I wonder how many people are, and those people, they're putting money in once. Like where's all the, there's not like loot crates and all these things to continue having money come in. Where are they getting all this money for development? I just really don't think they're selling a ton of copies.
Yeah, it doesn't really go on sale a whole lot. You said you'd buy it at what, $30, I think is what
$30.
you said?
Yeah, if it went under $30 and like they've gotten within 2 cents of what I said I would buy it at.
You're really holding out.
If it goes to that dollar amount, I will. But they were like 2 cents over last time. I was like, nope, I'm going to hold to I don't care about the 2 cents. If they got to get below that, and then I'll buy it.
Yeah, Brian's got a lot of 2 cents, so he wants to make sure he doesn't lose any of that.
Yeah.
But I find the whole, and maybe we're just totally out of base. This is what I'd like somebody to do. And they did the, geez, I don't remember the guy's name. Dirty did this to us with Rust. Kind of hit us in the mouth and said, "Hey, you're off about Rust. Let me write you a little thing and give you some things." And he did, and it worked great.
Yeah.
And I would make that same. I would like somebody, if we've got anybody in our audience that is an active DayZ player, will you please reach out to Brian or myself and talk to us? Because it's just, these games are so hard to jump into for 3 or 4 hours and actually get a decent grasp of the game and the feel of the game. I've played a whole bunch of DayZ when it first came out, but every time I've tried to play it since, it's just been a really piss poor experience. And we want to give the game a fair shake, but without investing a whole bunch of time, there's not really a good way to do that. So if you're a DayZ player, please reach out to us and tell us why we're wrong, or maybe we're not wrong. Maybe you agree with a lot of what we're saying. But I think I feel like that's the kind of the state of DayZ, right? As you said, Brian, the people that play it, but you're not having a swarm of people coming. And you're right, it doesn't have great reviews. It's got 60% positive reviews on Steam.
Yeah,
that's not great.
And you know me, I love beautiful maps that have a lot of detail and all that. And I'd be interested to hear, is this map a lot better? You know, one thing they said is they have rainfall and the environment really matches, you know, the location you're supposed to be in.
Yeah.
For me, I'll play a game just to run around the map and see those details.
Apparently it's gonna be set in kind of a summer scene, so there's gonna be lots of, they said, heavy rain and thunderstorms and things like that will affect obviously gameplay. So that's super cool.
I'm interested in that. If it's a good game, I'd love to play it, but I just haven't heard from people that it's a good game every time. And I have a lot of people on my friends list, and you know what? I never see DayZ pop up on there anymore. Yeah,
that's interesting. Let me look at mine. By the way, have you looked at the new Steam yet? I really like how they lay it out. I know you were away for a couple of days, but
I did see an article saying, you know, they laid out.
I love the layout. It makes you actually see the games you have in your inventory. Let's see. I've got 81 friends that have got this game, and I have nobody playing it right now. And I mean, I've got 35 hours in the game. That's not a crazy amount, but
yeah.
Well, I guess I haven't played this in a while. Last time we played this was June 24th of 2016, so it's been a couple of years. but
a little bit.
Oh, but that's not true. I did play it on the Xbox not that long ago, maybe a year ago. So, all right, Brian, add it to the list. Another game for Game of the Week we got to try is DayZ. Last time I played, I remember a couple people running in and just we didn't do anything. We just all ran around and found each other, and we're like, oh, okay.
And it's kind of like our experience in Miscreated.
Yeah,
sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly what it was. We spent the entire time trying to meet up, and then we were like, oh, okay. Yeah.
So, all right. So yeah, that's DayZ.
Yeah. So, but cool stuff. Looking forward to it, and hopefully this is the upswing for the DayZ folks, because I know a lot of people own DayZ, like DayZ, and it's at its core a survival game, and there's not a whole hell of a lot of that going on these days. So, hoping the DayZ folks can make it work.
So there's a game that just came out recently.
Okay.
And if you're looking for it on Steam, it'll actually say that it's coming out in 2020. Of course, if you go to the Epic Store, it is one that was just recently released here, and this is called Humankind Odyssey. Now, there's a video if you want to play that with no audio, because there's a developer talking in there.
Yeah.
But just to kind of see how it plays, you could also kind of jump forward a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is just one of the developers playing. And if you look, it's a third-person open-world survival game. Single player, though. Keep that in mind. It's not going to be one that you're playing with friends. But you're going through and pretty much exploring the map, and
Are you a monkey?
Evolving. Yeah, you're a monkey.
Huh. Or
you're having to evolve.
Yeah,
you're a chimpanzee.
Chimpanzee, okay.
And so it's like human evolution. So what you do is spanning from 10 million to 2 million years ago. That's the journey of what this is supposed to be through. And you're progressing through the world, learning things, learning to kind of craft and to work with tools and all that. Looks very interesting so far. I wasn't sure how this would play out when I first saw the initial announcements about this, but it looks like one that for a single player game, for me, it'd probably be something more like a console game that I would play. And this demo here that they're doing is on a console. But yeah, so one thing it's showing, like you can see here, the graphics, they changed. Yeah, you can use your intelligence to kind of sense things around you and start to perceive things. So part of your progression is you start to understand more things around you, to where when you use intelligence, you're like, okay, here's an object that I can use, or here's something I can see. And it's kind of hard to say exactly, being that I haven't played it and haven't gone through the whole thing, but you can see there, those are things that he now understands. Says, okay, this object's here, and he's perceiving and actually understanding more around him. So this is based out of Africa. I gotta stop. Trying to grow a clan.
This top-down camera view is making me incredibly dizzy. This, I hope that you don't have to play it like this.
I think that's the developer just doing that. Like he keeps putting his camera up above him.
I mean, you
can swing.
It's literally making me dizzy. Like I can't look at it. I hope that isn't a thing that you have to do.
Yeah. I wouldn't think so. I think it's just the way this guy's playing.
Okay.
He's not playing like a normal third person where you have the camera behind you. He keeps swinging the camera up.
Yeah, and it's just the camera's going crazy all the time.
Probably because he knows the map so well, he doesn't need to look around, and he's just he's not thinking how other players would like it.
He's trying to climb something here.
Yeah. So this is
looks kind of repetitive. This is an hour and 50 into it, and it looks like it's walking around and like just.
I think you're supposed to be kind of discovering. I think you're trying to discover to where you can you can progress in civilization.
Huh.
So, but yeah, you can see there he's crafting.
Yeah.
He's taking a stick, he's altering it, he's turning it into a weapon, and now he has some other kind of tool that he can do something with. So
interesting.
This will be one to keep an eye on. This is a open world survival game, and it is available right now on the Epic Store, and then 2020 it'll be available on Steam.
How much does this guy
or on console?
How much does this guy run you?
Let's see. On the Epic Store,
$30.
The price is currently, let's see, I'm pulling it up. Yeah, $39.99.
$40. Okay. Well,
$40.
It's an interesting price point.
It's from the creators of Assassin's Creed, so this is a major title.
So total repetition then, if it's an Assassin's Creed style game.
Yeah, very, very possible. So PC World says amazingly ambitious. That's when they're scared to actually say.
Yeah, because then you never
not actually saying anything.
What does Infection Podcast say about it? It's making me very dizzy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to stop right there. It's making me very dizzy. That's the quote that I'd like them to quote me on.
I think they do. They'll have areas that you move into that are more difficult because you'll need weapons, and those are things you have to learn. So I think it'll be interesting to see how well they've paced it from beginning to end, as far as feeling like you're accomplishing something as you go, because they will have a kind of a skill tree to where you can increase your perception so you understand more around you. And then like there's an evolution skill tree. So I think you're trying to get it to where you're more human-like over time.
And the name of the full game is Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey. So if you're having a problem locating it under Humankind Odyssey, it's maybe, I don't know, Ancestors, the Humankind, very long name for a game. But that's what they're doing. Interesting. This game must be kind of underground, Brian, because this video here doesn't really have any views on YouTube.
Yeah, this is just one of the devs doing it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
If this is one of the high console type of games, console players tend to not go look for this stuff.
Yeah, you're right. They just play it and
that's it.
Yeah.
And so this will be interesting to see. Is this probably a lot more popular on console, this type of game?
Cool.
Especially since it's single player.
Yeah. So check it out. Let us know if you have it or are looking to get it. Let us know. Let us know what your experience was.
Yes. You had posted a mobile game I wasn't sure. So LifeAfter, and
Yeah.
it looks very much a survival game, but you had posted it, and
I don't remember why
it's
I
just
posted it. I mean, I do know
don't
why. I
know.
don't remember where I saw it.
But it very much a survival game.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't sure if
Somebody
you had anything you wanted to
no,
show with it.
I don't remember. Somebody must. No, you know what? I saw this on Reddit actually. Let me see if I can find. Give me 1 second. Stall for me for a second, Brian, because I think that is where I saw it. I think I saw it on Reddit, and I was like, oh, it's a survival game. Let me see if I can find what the.
This is one that's
was.
available on Google Play or, of course, on iPhone, and it is, I think, free to play. Now, I'm sure they've got various things that they're going to try to get you to purchase and things, but it is you can install it for free. It says a blizzard of devastating virus of. Okay, I'm going to read this to you. You tell me if you think this was translated using Google Translate.
Okay.
A blizzard of devastating virus beleaguered the world.
Beleaguer?
Well, beleaguered, but they said a blizzard of devastating virus beleaguered the world.
Oh, got you. Devastating virus. Yes.
I mean, is it a blizzard of viruses, or how was it a blizzard of one virus? I just don't get how that works personally. But anyways, I guess maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Bringing about the catastrophic disintegration of orders and covenants.
It's a lot of big words. Too complicated.
I don't even know what are covenants. I mean, what are we doing with covenants? So who knows?
All right, well,
I think this was written in Japanese or Chinese and then translated.
So it's by NetEase, which I believe is a Chinese company.
Okay.
So this is LifeAfter. So I found what I was looking for. So yeah, I saw this on the survival gaming subreddit, which I mean it's kind of like a generic survival crafting game. There's some of this stuff where you can see here. This is a cutscene. Now it's a mobile game, right? So the graphics. It's a mobile game. So yeah, I mean, I saw it. To answer your question, no, I don't really have anything to say. It was just something I saw that looked like it was survival, and I honestly forgot about it, and here it is.
Okay, well, you put it in you put it in the notes. So I was like, hey, I'll ask you.
No, I know.
I'm gonna put you an easy one out there to get it out of the park with.
I was looking through the notes before the show. I was like, what is this game? You're like, oh, you posted this.
You put that in there.
Yeah, no, I just saw it. I mean, it's just kind of it's a typical mobile game, but it's a survival crafting mobile game. You collect resources. It's very basic, very generic crafting. You're attacking and killing zombies. That's the game, and that's what it looked like. So if you're out there and you don't have time to ever hop on a PC and play anything, maybe this is a good middle ground if you don't have the option to do something like that. So
yeah, it definitely looked like, at first when I started seeing the video, I was like, okay, could be a PC game. So the graphics are good, very good
for a mobile game,
or for a mobile game.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's a fine game, but there's just this random video of it that I saw pop up on the internet. You can see the crafting system, and you're talking to this guy looks like guiding you on how to craft things. There's I don't know exactly what's going on here, but yeah, it's just a mobile survival game. So I think that's kind of self-explanatory of what it is.
One thing these guys have, we should approach them, is that they have a radio 101 transmitting across all AM frequencies, calling all survivors. We need to try to get the infection
maybe this is
podcast put on there.
The infection podcast.
This is our chance to get it in there.
Maybe the XERA folks will put us in there too. That'd be cool. Wouldn't that be really neat to be in a game?
Yeah. We'd have to probably make a special episode.
I could do my radio voice. Every episode of ours is timeless. What are you talking about? Our buddy, speaking of timeless things, our buddy UGX Vibe tweeted us a couple weeks ago. I don't remember what was going on, but he said he was going to go ahead and listen to the original episodes of Infection Podcast. He said after listening to the PAX wrap-up show, I'm going to do some reminiscing, and he listened to episode 1. And his response was, listening to episode 1 through 5 makes me very sad listening to how happy and hopeful you guys were for H1Z1. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting, and want to give him a shout out for that.
That was before all my hopes and dreams were dashed.
Yeah, with your Nintendo shirt, you were really ready to go. Yes. So yeah. Now,
that I now wear once a year.
Hey, I don't think, did you even wear it at PAX this year? I don't think you did.
I brought it.
Yeah, I don't think you wore it.
Maybe not. I don't remember.
I don't think so. Who knows?
It was a crazy weekend.
Pro tip don't die says, if I'm going to play mobile, I'll just play the old school RuneScape. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a good alternative. So that's all. It wasn't a recommendation or anything. I just saw it look like it is a survival game. It's called LifeAfter. It's available on both iOS and on the Google Play Store. You can go ahead and check it out. It's free on both, I believe. So, and
I'm sure they'll have some sort of skins and whatever packs that you can purchase. I mean, that's just how much.
Yeah, and it's got 174,000 reviews on Google Play, and it's got 4 stars. So.
Yeah, there was a lot of positive reviews. So, I mean, it may be a very fun game to play, and it might be one if you're interested in survival, a nice one to play when you're out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and that's what this is, but that's the key to understand with this. Don't compare this to a PC game. Take this for what it is, what it's worth, the platform it's on, and what it's intended to be. And if you if you can break yourself out, because Brian, I fall into this, and I know you do too. This constantly comparing everything to your model or ideal game or system or whatever it may be. If you're going to try this, take it for what it's worth, look at what it is, look at the context of what it is, and then make your assessment. No. So, LifeAfter, it's available on iOS and Android. Check it out, and yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll install it this week and try it.
All right.
So
on
sorry for
massively
not remembering.
No worries. It's fine. Massively OP, they posted an article about an open world kind of MMO game that's going to be built on Spatial OS.
Oh, okay.
Now, one thing, I went and looked. First of all, their website is in a different language.
Jeez.
So if you view it, you're going to have to use Translate. But they did have a video on there. If you go to the dev diary, you can do it with no audio.
Is it in Russian? The website?
Let me look. I'm using Brave, so it doesn't have auto translate.
No, it's German, I think. Yeah, no, I think it's German. Yeah. I think it's German. It's translating it right now. Let's see. Yeah, it is. It is German. So it's a German studio.
Okay. Now I wanted you to pull up the dev diary really quick, and I just wanted to explain what this is. Now, this is pretty much just them showing the map, and I just wasn't sure why they bothered posting this. Kind of made me nervous. Like if they're getting an article on Massively OP, which means that this is fairly big, but this is like their landscape generator, and they just show a character running around it, and this makes me nervous of how far they actually are in the game, because
it's a flat landscape. I mean, there's no trees, and the hills that are in there are probably auto-generated and then sculpted. Yeah. So there's not really.
I just wasn't sure. I was watching this. I'm like, okay, what are they showing me in this dev diary? It just didn't click. Like the world isn't that big. They're running around and they're not really showing anything off.
It looks like it generates in chunks. When the guy gets near an edge, it looked like it popped in some new sections.
Yeah, so maybe they're showing the level streaming aspect of it.
Yeah.
It didn't impress me off the first. I was like, okay. Yeah, so you can see there, it just popped to another section. And so it's doing level streaming. So I guess that's probably the only thing they're really showing off is the level streaming aspect. But it wasn't very pretty. I mean, obviously, this is very early on. But it will be using Spatial OS. We haven't seen very many games using Spatial OS.
And it's using Unity. It's supposed not Unreal.
Yeah. Well, and Unity... Unreal got the tools a little bit late. Unity has had the tools for a little while. Of course, we all know CryEngine had them first, and people tried to use Spatial OS with CryEngine, and I haven't really seen a lot of success with that. But this will be, let's see if this is one of the first games to actually use Spatial OS successfully, because we haven't really seen other ones do it. And I've complained about the high prices of using Spatial OS. Well, if this doesn't have a lot of people willing to pay on a monthly basis, it's going to be very difficult for them to maintain Spatial OS servers because they are expensive. You're paying like Azure or AWS, Amazon AWS prices for your servers, which isn't exactly the cheapest thing compared to having your own in a data center.
Yeah, so they've got a list of some of the features of the game, the procedurally generated world, and some of the controls, and you can actually task NPCs with doing things similar to games like Atlas and Sea of Thieves.
Which is where Spatial OS kind of comes in handy, because then they have servers that can handle the AI by itself.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting. This was
Yeah.
I'm glad.
So keep an eye on
caught
this. And it says a Kickstarter will be coming in the next few years. So
will we be here doing the show when this
That'll be the
Kickstarter comes? I mean, you may never hear about it again. I have no idea. Huh.
But this is Antarian.com. So ANTARIEN.com if you're interested in seeing more about it.
And the
Just
links.
make sure you have a browser that's capable of Google Translate.
Yes, and the links and the videos and everything else is in our show notes on our website, which is infectionpodcast.com. So if you want to check that out, you can go ahead and do that there. We have really extensive notes for every episode of the program. Brian does a real bang up job with getting all this stuff ready to go for the show. So that's all for your benefit,
for your viewing enjoyment.
Yes,
and then of course something that was announced. First of all, one of the main reasons I got my PlayStation was for The Last of Us. One was Red Dead, the other one was Last of Us. And they have announced the release date for The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
And this is going to be February 21st of 2020. So over a year away, or about just under a year away, right? So
when does this come out? I'm sorry. It's what?
February 21st of 2020.
No, this is pretty close. This is 6 months away.
So I mean, yeah, 6 months away.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. So I mean, that's kind of what I was expecting it. I was figuring February, March is what I kind of thought. Because I think, who was it that delayed it? Was it Cyberpunk that delayed because of The Last of Us? There was a game, a major title, that delayed their release date because they didn't want it competing with The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I remember something like that, but I don't remember what.
I thought it was maybe Cyberpunk put it out a little bit just because they didn't want to be releasing at the exact same time. But they did put a trailer in there. I don't know if you want to play it.
Yeah.
And it is their release date trailer that'll show a little bit of, who knows how much is cutscenes versus actual gameplay.
Yeah. Pretty
much all cutscenes, I'm sure.
So let's take a little look at The Last of Us Part 2's trailer. And this was announced today at Sony's Status of PlayStation event.
Scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate our kiss from last night?
Look who decided to join us. All right. You all know the drill. Run your routes. Mark your logbooks. You run into anything you can't handle.
Ellie!
You come back.
Dino, where are you? Get off me! Please stop! No!
Tommy, I have to finish it.
You have no idea what you're walking into.
What are you doing?
You don't know how large that group is, how armed.
I don't care. You can't stop this. What the hell are you doing here?
You think I'd let you do this on your own?
All right, Brian. So, what did you think of the trailer and the ongoing story? I don't think I have one of I have something Last of Us. I didn't play it.
You never played The Last of Us?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Hold on. Talk. I gotta see what I have. Talk for a minute.
Okay. So one thing that I did notice is it has similarities to things that you see in Red Dead as far as the horses and everything. I think they've cleaned that up a little bit. Maybe it's just the tech that they were able to get from that, but the snow and the various things that you saw with the horses, it looked like it was very polished. And as far as story, they have the kind of clicking type of they're not really zombies, but whatever.
Wait,
they
I
are.
have played this game. Then I remember clicking things. I've got The Last of Us Remastered. What is that? Is that the first game? That was the PS3
Yeah, that's the
game?
first one.
Okay.
Mhm.
What is? And there's a part
A
2,
remastered
right?
for PS4.
Yeah.
Then they have kind of an extension, which is just a little extended quest.
So should I finish this?
I would. It was a very good story.
Yeah, I do remember. Now that you mentioned those clicker things, I remember there was I was in a subway and there were things clicking.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I guess I have played part of it.
Yeah, so you should just play it through before the new one comes out.
I'll do that right after I finish Red Dead, and before COD comes out in a month.
It's not as long as Red Dead. It's not that long of a game,
Okay.
so you should be able to.
And after I
actually do
finish Breath of the Wild on the Switch.
it. Yeah,
It's like
you're screwed. I'm sorry. It's never gonna happen.
Hey, and the 3 games I've got still in cellophane for the Xbox and PlayStation, games that I've never opened.
So Last of Us, it's an awesome game. I never finished the first Red Dead. I never finished it.
Oh,
I never
played that one multiple times.
I did most of it, but I didn't ever finish the whole thing before the next one came out. But The Last of Us is a much shorter story, and it's definitely doable within a reasonable time frame. It's not just a never-ending story like Red Dead is.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll take your advice. I'll pop it in there and see how far I am through the game. I think I played maybe a couple hours, maybe 3 or 4 hours, not a whole lot.
Yeah, just play it through, see if you kind of get into it, because that's the thing. Do you get into it? If you do, give it a try. Keep trying to play through it, but it'll be interesting to see how much of the prior story, because they are referencing prior characters, and it'll be interesting to see how much of the prior story will be helpful in the new one. They usually try to keep them fairly separate. You're not going to have to know something to understand definitely what's happening. So
the trailer looked good. It looks like lots of interesting things going on in there. And I know
graphics wise, I mean, there's a lot of things that I was saying was similar to Red Dead as far as the horse movements. It looks spot on. I think there was some snow in there that I saw. Effects, like just different things that I think they definitely are using that level of tech in this one. And so that is an update. I mean, because the first one, I mean, it's fairly old now, but it didn't look like this. They did a good job of upgrading graphics.
I think this is probably the biggest exclusive that Sony's got right now in terms of hype and popularity. I know they have God of War and what's the other really big one? But it seems like Last of Us is kind of the Halo equivalent to what Microsoft had back in the day.
I think this is their biggest. This is their biggest title that they have.
At least in terms of people that talk about it and the hype surrounding it and kind of the good recommendations. And Niska said Horizon Zero Dawn.
That was a good was a good one though.
Yeah, but it's nothing like Last of Us in terms of the hype and the stigma.
People knowing it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I will say this. I believe that Last of Us thing came with my PlayStation. Uncharted 2 is another one of their big series, right? Isn't that theirs?
Uncharted, yes.
Yeah. So I think maybe Uncharted and Last of Us are kind of their big ones.
And Uncharted I found interesting, but I felt like I was so much on rails.
Well,
I just couldn't get into it.
Very much so.
But Last of Us is on rails as well, but you don't realize it as much.
Yeah, I do remember playing Last of Us now. I do remember playing a little bit of it now. I didn't think I did, but I guess I did. So.
Okay, so now you're gonna have to play a little bit more, so you'll be.
I'll do another 4 hours this year.
We'll see if we can get you an eighth of the way through the story.
Yeah, hey, you got to do what you got to do. And then I'll buy the new one like a jackass and never play it. So.
No. Well, that I'm definitely looking forward to that. So that'll be February of the coming year. So
you can buy it for me for my
sure.
birthday, Brian. That's in February.
That would be the biggest waste of money. Think of other things that we could spend money on that you'll actually use.
All right. It'll look cool on the shelf behind me.
Yeah, I know. I can just get you the case. I'll go to GameStop and say, can I just get a case? I don't want the actual game.
I was just talking about this about Call of Duty. I will have to go and buy a copy of Call of Duty just to put it on the shelf.
Yeah, you just need it. That's what they need to sell is just empty cases for people like you.
I could shoplift it. Because they put it on the shelf without the game in it, and you go to the counter.
Yeah, just walk out and be like, I got it. Exactly what I wanted.
Steal the case. Yeah, don't steal, kids. It's illegal.
Yeah, don't encourage that on Twitch. Goodness sakes.
Sorry. All right. Hey, it's a couple of minutes past the hour mark here on our lovely program that we call Infection Podcast, and we do this thing, Brian, every week where you give out free things, and they're free video games. And now people can also give you free games to give away, because I know a lot of people have Humble Bundle and buy bulk game deals when those come out. So you can hit Brian up if you have a couple of games you want him to give away. But what is it looking like today is the game giveaway.
All right. So if you want to enter for this, I'm giving away a copy of Observer, and it's kind of a weird way the name is put out, but what it is very positive ratings overall and recent. If you want to enter for this, and exclamation point giveaway in chat. And it is a cyberpunk psychological horror sci-fi game. It's $29.99 right now. So it's not a small title. It's not a cheap game. This is a full game that has great graphics, a lot of good story to it. But this is, what would you do if your fears were hacked? So Observer is a cyberpunk horror game with from Blooper Team, which is the developer, and the creators of Layers of Fear. Play as an observer, the new front line of neural police, as you hack into the jagged minds of the insane. So
interesting.
Has very good ratings, and we'll be giving away here in about an hour.
Yeah, and if you're not here live, well, you're missing out on the chat room, obviously, and you're missing out on our pre and post show, which always is a highlight. A lot of people have told me that it's better than the show. They enjoy the pre and post show better than the show. And you can join us here live. We're here mostly every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We stream on Twitch, on Mixer, and on YouTube Live. So wherever you can check us out live, we'd love to have you. We've got our multi-chat system open here so I can see whatever platform you're chatting on. And you have an opportunity to win some free games, add some context to the show, some opinions, and overall just hang out with the boys and kind of shoot the breeze for a couple hours about video games. So to everybody that's here live, we appreciate you, and everybody that's not, well, try joining us live sometime. Every couple of weeks, somebody pops in and says, "Hey, first time watching live." So we'd love to have you here live on either Twitch, Mixer, or YouTube. All right. With that being the case, I believe that's all of the upcoming games, new games that are coming out. But it is not the Scuba Mike says this is his first time watching live. Well, thank you.
Well, welcome.
Welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us live. It was not the only announcement. Scoob. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm stupid.
It's because he trash talks in games all day, and so it's hard for him to not.
Scuba Mike, more like Scrubba can't shoot at me, Mike. Yeah. So, but there was another big announcement today. Well, big announcement maybe. With Atlas, it is coming to the Xbox One. That was also announced at Microsoft's Inside Xbox thing that they did today. So interesting to see, Brian. This game that we have talked about, we don't see any future for it really going forward on the PC. Maybe the Xbox is the saving grace. We've seen Sea of Thieves. That's very relatively popular on the Xbox.
The Sea of Thieves is a simplified interface. Like they gotta make this more mobile or more console friendly, more controller friendly.
Agreed, and I'm sure they will. But this game clearly has not had. Well, it's not clearly. It has not had any success on the PC. It's got no consistent player base. It's got no large player base, and it frankly, in my opinion, has fell short on almost all of what it was originally intended to be.
Yeah.
With that being said, maybe this is a good fit for the console audience. And
Do you think they're going
I
to
just
start
don't know.
simplifying the game? I mean, I just can't see how they could do it with the complexity of the game currently.
But when you say
It
that, what do
seems
you
like
mean?
Like simplify the crafting, simplify
I don't think
the
this is
movement.
craft. I'm trying to remember. Is the crafting really that crazy?
I mean, it's pretty much Arc.
Yeah,
which
no,
I
but
just-
Arc is
doesn't
on
seem
console.
enjoyable. But dragging things back and forth and just doing all that with a controller, it just doesn't seem like it'd be
No, I mean,
frustrating to me.
well, here's the good thing. Because they've already done it with Arc, I'm sure they know very well how to do that. I'll tell you this. You would think the same thing about Minecraft. If you've ever played Minecraft on a console, it's a crazy good experience. And obviously,
Yeah.
Atlas and
My
Arc,
nephews, they've been playing it a lot, and they really enjoy Minecraft on the console.
they figured it out. Because if you look at Minecraft, you go, there's no way you could put this game on a console. But Mojang, before Microsoft purchased them, they did a hell of a job back on the Xbox 360 and PS3 of getting a good UI and just good controls, a good feel for the game where it wasn't repetitive to make things and whatnot, and craft things. So, but with Arc already existing on those platforms, they have figured out how to do it with Arc, and I would argue that Arc is a more complicated game than Atlas. It's just, I think it's got a broader, it's just got broader things to do.
I think
than
there's
Atlas.
more. Yeah, but
The taming of the dinosaurs and just the quick.
You still have all that.
face-paced
Just we
thing.
didn't. It seems like it's not as much of an emphasis. There's all that mechanics are still there. It just seems like it would be frustrating to do. I don't know. Maybe it'll be fun, but I just think they should simplify it a little bit because there's a lot of kind of useless, like there's a lot of useless things that don't really add to the gameplay in Atlas, and so it just seems like they could simplify it and make it to where it's more about taming things, sailing in a ship, and whatever things that they think are most important, make that what the game is about, and take out all the little minute details of making sure you have enough berries and this and that to for your various health things. Like, it's more difficult to sit there and play on a console when you have a ton of little different things you're having to constantly click on and do.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think they can do it, and maybe this game will have more success on Xbox than it does on PC. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. But
and they haven't done any updates this
they
week. I
haven't.
put it in there just so So there were no updates. 2.18.31 was what they were 2 weeks ago. Maybe last week they may have done one small update, but there aren't any updates this week.
Yeah.
So.
And so this is coming out October 8th, and it's actually on Xbox crossplay, which I believe means you can play it on the PC if you own it on the Xbox and vice versa.
Well, they're probably using the PC servers because they don't want to spin up a whole nother set of servers.
But to be clear, you'll have to buy it through Microsoft to get that. So you won't have your Steam copy will not be able to be played on the Xbox. But if you buy it on the Xbox, you'll
so
be,
so Microsoft must have Microsoft probably has their own cloud of servers on Azure.
Yeah.
It's probably what that means. That
I have no
anybody on
idea.
PC or console can play.
This guy says crossplay is going to be AIDS. Lots of encouraging comments about PC and Xbox crossplay.
People playing together, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. So it's coming out soon. I mean, October 8th is I think that's actually Tuesday. It's 2 weeks from now. So
there we go.
It's coming out soon, and I wonder if we could get a couple copies of this. Well, you don't have an Xbox, but I do. I'd be willing to give this a shot. So maybe we'll have to tap into our Atlas folks,
resources.
and see.
All right,
with all the positive things we've said about them, that
I'm sure they love us.
give us a copy of the game. So there you go. Hey, you can buy me that for my birthday too. If The Last of Us doesn't work out,
I'll buy you a couple more copies of Atlas. And you can use those. I'm sure they'll be cheap by then.
Oh, jeez. Thanks.
So really quickly, Fallout 76, they had an issue where GameStop is recalling, those collectibles where they had like the helmet.
Yep.
And they had a GameStop exclusive helmet.
Yep.
And there was 20,000 of them. And they're having to recall those because there was a risk of mold exposure from them. So because of this mold that was present in the fabric that was placed inside the helmet, they are now pulling all 20,000 units of this. Now, one thing that I would say, if they're pulling these, a lot of times this is when you want to actually save your one, because now there's that many fewer of this collectible item. It then has more value. So if you're smart, you'll be like, I'm not sending this thing back to you. I'm going to have one of the originals.
Capitalist Brian here, trying to make you some hard-earned cash.
I mean, you could, if you're worried about this, spray it out with some sort of disinfectant. I don't know. That's not medical advice, but
we are the infection podcast.
We're pros. What's funny is we get people on Twitter that are following us because they have some sort of like page or something to do with infectious diseases or whatever, and they're following everything with the word infection in it. And so we get some lovely people that follow us on Twitter sometimes.
Yeah, so I'm sure they're very interested in our hot takes about video games on Twitter.
And this was sold for $150 now originally, and they're offering a full refund for that. So if you do that, you'll get your $150 back. And I'm sure a lot of people were disappointed in what happened with Fallout 76, and maybe they will appreciate getting the $150 back.
But see, what's interesting is you get your money back, but they're not going to remake these. So
no, they're not offering it to you anymore. They're giving you a refund, and you're losing it.
Yeah. So I mean,
so it almost be worth like just disinfecting the one you have. If you're really worried about mold, there's ways.
Yeah.
Or I mean, there's things that you can do that will kill mold.
Yeah. I mean,
if you're really concerned,
watch some YouTube videos.
Go some YouTube video. I'm sure that those will save your life.
Yeah. Interesting. That's kind of, and this article does point out that this is not the first time there's been an issue with Fallout 76 things. They had those bags, those canvas bags that were part of too, and those ended up being like crappy nylon that was just ripping apart.
They look like really nice, high quality made, and then you get them, and it's like the things that they give away at the booths at like PAX and things like that.
Yeah, just like crappy drawstring bag material. Instead of
nothing like what
canvas.
The picture showed.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Daddy English, he says they wouldn't worry about mold in Appalachia. So that is true.
I mean,
mold is the last thing you're worried about.
Yes, you're worried about
I'm sure the radiation killed all the mold in the first.
You're worried about 200 foot tall cockroaches wielding guns that are trying to kill you. So clearly, whoever contracted with Bethesda to make these two products did a really crappy job. And GameStop's going to be out a whole bunch of money. Bethesda's going to be out a whole bunch of money, and you're going to lose your helmet. So,
and I think that this all comes down to Bethesda. It's Bethesda's job to do
QC,
quality control of all of these objects.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously they didn't, especially the fact that canvas bag got sent out. I mean, you can't always control the mold thing. I mean, that could be
some manufacturing
reactions. They did some tests. They found out afterwards. That's hard for them to control. But the canvas bags was approved by someone, and so that was an issue they could have obviously fixed.
Yeah, I mean, the picture of the nylon bag is like, it's just not. I mean, it's nylon. And not that nylon's a bad material.
You have a picture of the one that they promised?
Yeah, it's right here. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, that's canvas. That's like that's like cloth material, like heavy.
That's like
cloth.
I could use that as a gym bag.
Absolutely.
I could put stuff in it.
Yeah.
The other one is one that it would rip and fall apart.
Yeah,
and there's no way I'm using it as a gym bag.
But nylon's a fine material for a bag if that's what you're getting. But they advertised it as
they tend to rip much easier.
Yeah, of course. Nylon is a different material. But and it said canvas bag. Canvas is the type of fabric. So it turned out to just be kind of a disaster. So the ongoing trials and tribulations of Fallout 76, from nobody playing the game to sending out mold-infested helmets to people is it has not been the smoothest of roller coasters for Fallout. This game this game has done a real disservice to the name of the franchise.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It has made me nervous about buying a future Fallout game if they are using any of this as future tactics.
Well, yeah, but
anything that they've done with this.
But not even Fallout, Brian. I mean, this makes you look at Bethesda as a company and say where, and they were clear with, and I don't want to rehash Fallout 76, but they made it clear that they were trying to test something and that they were going to try something new. Fine. But this game has had so many issues, from start to where we are right now, to issues with pre-ordering things, and it's just been a real mess. And it really does make you question Bethesda and the Fallout franchise and what the future of that really looks like.
Yep. And that's the thing is I'm nervous about this has changed my view of the whole company as far as before, but Bethesda and the whole Fallout franchise was something that's like, oh, well, they release a good game every time, something that's enjoyable. And like they missed so hard on this one.
Yeah, big time.
That it kind of makes me nervous. Well, okay, well, it's not a guarantee that the next Fallout's going to be great with how bad they missed this one. That makes me nervous.
Yeah. JD says they're a great publisher, but as a dev team, they're a little shaky. So yeah. Fair assessment. All right. Let's talk quickly about another thing that came out of these announcements here today, Brian, and that is Project Xcloud, which is Microsoft's streaming system that they're coming out with, similar to Stadia and Ubisoft last week announced one that they're testing, and Sony's got one on the way. Well, here it is, and there's but this one is a little bit different. So there is Project Xcloud, which is their online streaming solution, which allows you to play your favorite Xbox games on your Android phone or tablet directly from the cloud. This is for the preview, just on Android phones, directly with Xcloud Preview. But also, this is the interesting one, is Xbox console streaming. This one allows you to play Xbox One games that you've installed on your console, including Xbox Game Pass games on your Android phone or tablet with Xbox Cloud streaming. So they've got their streaming service, but they've also got a service that's kind of like Steam's not remote play. Well, yeah, maybe that's what it's called. Steam's remote play streaming service, where you can stream Steam games to your mobile devices and play them off of your computer. So that's what they've got as well. And there's a little picture here of the description of what both of these services are. So they are doing a full-on cloud streaming service and a console streaming service that are coming soon. And right now they're just listed for Android. So I don't know why that is, or if that's going to change in the future. That would be in my opinion, would be a big mistake by Microsoft's part, because Stadia is going to be on on iPhone and Android, and I'm sure Ubisoft's device service will be on iOS and Android. So I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind this, but they're putting their foot in the game, and just like everybody else, it's going to be interesting to see who is the king of the video game streaming war. Somebody will show their dominance, and somebody will have the better service at the better price with the best games. And
at what point, the thing is at what point will games kind of transition over, and it then becomes, because right now a lot of the limitations of what games are doing is based on the hardware.
Yeah.
That's why they keep saying, okay, with the new PlayStation, you're going to have things look this much better and do this much better. Well, once that's kind of taken off the table, then your limitation is going to turn into, all right, what's my bandwidth? What's my delay? My lag. It's going to change the dynamic. I think that this will work well for certain types of games. For other types of games, it won't work well. So I think there will always be a need for some sort of local device. Maybe that's their thinking behind the whole streaming from your actual console to the device, because it doesn't always work to sit there and try to stream something over the internet to a tablet or a phone. If you're doing something that requires fast response time, it'd be much better if the only limitation and slowness, outside of your normal internet connection would be the connection between you and your Xbox. And so I think that not all games will work for this, but I think this will be fun for a lot of those games that don't require. I mean, imagine at what point, kind of like you see with a Nintendo Switch, where you have little controllers built into your phone or on the side of your phone or something that you're working with. I think that would work for a lot of those types of games, especially the ones that are console related. They're made to be simplified interfaces. I think it'll work.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Part of me is scared of this whole streaming service things. As I've talked about before, I don't like the idea. I like paying for things and then being done. And these streaming services obviously don't allow that. It's a constant reoccurring payment thing. So I'm a little hesitant of them, but I'm excited to see who's going to take the crown of these services, though. I think Microsoft and Sony with their exclusives are going to have a way bigger upper hand than Stadia is going to have. They can pull big names, but Gears, which, by the way, they talked about the games that they're testing on this. It's going to be the brand new Gears game, Gears 5, Halo 5, Sea of Thieves, and Killer Instinct are going to be the first 4 games that are going to be part of this test. And you can go and register for this. So if you have an Android phone, you do, Brian, you should go register for this. Because I obviously can't. But you can go to the Xbox website and register for this, and those will be one of the 4 more games that you'll be able to play and try with this. Which you're talking about big name titles. Gears and Halo are the 2 exclusive, have been 2 of Microsoft's biggest exclusives over the past 10 years. I mean,
and
so you're not talking about. Go ahead.
And I generally have a fast internet connection, decent ping rates, like
on a good phone.
If they can pull this off on a good phone, I mean, it may be very enjoyable. Now, one thing, are you ready to move on to something else kind of related to this?
Yeah, what you got?
Well, one thing that we've been discussing, and I'm sure Polygon, they've listened to the podcast, and of course, this is why they've all of a sudden posted an article on this. But does this sound familiar, Nick? Spending $60 on a video game doesn't make sense anymore.
Oh, Jesus.
Who have I heard that from?
Me.
Yes. Okay. Well, guess what? That was not you. That was not a Nick quote. That is the title of this article from Polygon.
Those bastards.
And they're talking about they're stealing. I mean, we need to go and cease and desist this, right?
Could you imagine sending a cease and desist to their
Polygon is saying, we have this exact quote. Nick said this many weeks before, spending $60 on a video game doesn't make sense anymore. Plagiarism.
Yeah, I'm sure that would.
I'm sure they would open right up to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one thing they're talking about is the Netflix model is here for video games, which is perfectly what you were talking about as far as the streaming services and different ways. They don't expect you to sit there and own all of these titles anymore, not buying them individually. I'm sorry for the people that want to have a bunch of boxes behind them. Maybe you can get a collector's set, just boxes. But people, how many people have a rack of actual DVDs?
What?
I mean, how many people actually have a rack of DVDs anymore?
Well, a lot of people have Blu-rays. They don't have DVDs, but they have Blu-rays.
How many? But still, I've seen going to people's houses. There's very rarely do I actually see even people having Blu-rays anymore.
Okay, fair.
I think that you are the kind of like those dinosaurs of old times. I mean, I've got boxes in the garage of cases of DVDs just from when I used to have racks of DVDs in the house. And it's I feel embarrassed having these in here now.
You got anything cool in there?
No, there's old movies.
Like Independence Day, like cool stuff like that?
Yeah, movies like that. Like all those old movies. I got boxes and boxes of them.
You should do a garage sale.
Who wants dollar DVDs anymore? I mean,
I think that'd be great. Dollar DVDs and candy. Be like an old Blockbuster.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great. And so that's the thing is I think that people like you are going away to where I don't have any, I don't like having the cases because I'm more worried about them getting scratched and something happening to them. I like having them digital.
Okay. Here's the thing though. I don't disagree with you. There's 2 different things here as I hit my microphone. There's 2 different things here. there's buying digital versions of games, which is one conversation I'd be willing to have. The second conversation is no longer ever owning a game and constantly having to pay $15 or $20 a month to stream all of your games. And those are two totally different conversations. And on the buying a game digitally, I don't mind. I mean, I have an entire Steam library digitally. That doesn't bother me. The problem I do have will be buying or paying for a monthly subscription. And I get it. Here's the thing. I don't buy a lot of games. If I did, one of these streaming services probably would make sense. But I'm trying to think of the last 60. I know I don't have to think. The last $60 game I purchased was Red Dead Redemption 2, literally almost a year ago. That was October 26th of 2018. Look, according to
you got the banner up there.
Looking at the poster that stands high above me that I got from GameStop. October 26th. That's a year ago, Brian. A year next month. That is the last $60 title I bought. The next $60 title I'm going to buy is in a month in one day, and that's going to be the next Call of Duty. But in between October 26th of last year and October 25th of this year, I will not have purchased one $60 title.
Yeah.
Now, I bought plenty of $5 and $15 and $20, $25 games, right? I've bought those, so have you. But I don't buy a whole lot of these $60 games. I was really tempted to buy Gears 5. A buddy of mine said it was really good and I should buy it. But I'm just not a fan. I don't buy enough games or play enough games where I like these streaming services. So I'm afraid that the whole industry is going to go that way because for me, I'm going to be getting screwed because I don't play enough.
I think that they need to get the Netflix of streaming services figured out first, though, because, I mean, you've got Amazon Prime, which is a streaming service. People tend not to use that. You'll use whatever's free in there, but a lot of people have Prime already, so that hasn't been the super competition.
Yeah.
People don't feel like they're spending extra money to get that. Netflix has been the undisputed champion of streaming services up to this point. And I don't think that until we have a video game streaming service that has kind of claimed that title, people aren't going to want to have 5 different game streaming services to be able to cover all the games they want. You get Netflix and it covers so many different movies and television shows that it generally covers 90% of what you want. Maybe they'll get something else to kind of cover the rest, like Hulu or something.
But that's not going to happen in the gaming space because you've got, in the case of Microsoft and Sony, they own a lot of first-party studios, and there will be a cold day in hell that you'll be able to play Halo or Gears of War on a PlayStation and or Last of Us, God of War, or Uncharted on an Xbox. There will be a cold day in hell before Sony and or Microsoft will allow that. So no, there is not going to be a service like that.
I was reading earlier about an Android game subscription service similar to what the Apple one is.
Yeah.
And it has like 500 games or whatever on it, right? Now we've got one from Xbox. Then PlayStation has their streaming service. That is the issue. Is right now with all these exclusivity titles, you're going to have 3, 2 at the minimum to cover most of your games. You'll have Xbox's streaming service, and then you'll have PlayStation's streaming service, and will you have to have another one? I mean, will you need Google's streaming service? That's going to be the issue since they weren't able to do that in movies. I mean, it's not like you have to have the HBO streaming service. There are some HBO titles that end up on Netflix. They haven't stuck to the true exclusivity.
Yeah, Sopranos and a whole bunch of those things are on Amazon Prime now, actually. The Sopranos, what's the other one? So the one I just watched, Boardwalk Empire. Those are old, Big Love. Those are old HBO series that are now on Amazon Prime.
And what would be interesting is if some of these older titles, if they'll end up kind of like what Netflix does and Amazon does, will they start going on to some other service that's kind of considered the actual service that people use? And then if you want kind of like HBO and you want some more current stuff, you want current episodes of something, you'll go get HBO Now or whatever it's called.
But it's HBO Go. But here's the problem.
HBO Go.
And I don't know, do you have Netflix?
Yes.
You use it a whole lot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The problem with those services are that they're paying licensing fees for a set period of time to whoever owns the show. For example, Friends is the big one that's dropping off of Netflix this year. They're bringing a big show. Oh, they're bringing Seinfeld on next year. But there will be a set period of time. Are they going to start doing that? These video game streaming services presumably will do the same thing. So Red Dead Redemption will be on there for X amount of time, predetermined in the deal between Rockstar and whoever their service is.
And there's a possibility that it may drop off.
So what happens when you're in the middle of the story and the freaking game is no longer available? I mean,
just like on Netflix where you're watching a series and it goes off.
But hold on, there's alternatives to that. When you're talking about moving to pretty much an entire streaming service system, there's no longer an alternative. Brian, you could go to Walmart, well, maybe not Walmart. You go to Amazon and buy the entire series of Friends, the box set. You can buy the entire Sopranos. You can buy them digitally. But that's my fear when it comes to the streaming aspect of video games, is that you're going to have, great, 500 games is great, but guess what? I can't play 500 games at the same time. So I'm going to play through games when I want to play through them, and then I'm going to get to say, okay, let's do this other game. Oh, shit, it's gone. It's no longer available. Now I'm going to have to go sign up for Google Stadia to play Alan Wake from 2008 because it was on Xbox. Now it's not. Now it's on Stadia, or it's on somebody else's service.
Here's the danger, though. Here's what I view as the danger: is the second that technology starts to adjust the games to where they are reliant on this back-end server technology and streaming service. Because as you said, right now, with certain things, you have the option to go and purchase them other ways. Well, once they make it that now all the back-end processing and maybe specific types of processors and ways to handle graphics and AI and all these things are happening, there goes the local single player or local copy of a game. It is then reliant, just like if you want to have the full experience of Atlas, kind of have to have a full set of servers behind it, and you're forced to use the online. Well, that's just to connect to it. Wait until to actually play anything with the game, you're reliant on having something like that in the back end. Then they don't have the option anymore of having a local copy, and you're required to have some sort of a service behind it, which will have a subscription because that costs extra money to run. And so that's my concern, is you will lose the ability to have a truly individual game that you purchase and you can play on the go and you can play on your own, and you don't have to have some sort of a service tied to it.
Yeah. USAF Zombies mentioning for people that are deployed, that's a real big deal. He says the entire time he was deployed, he couldn't even play StarCraft 2, which he owned, which was a Blizzard or is a Blizzard game, because he didn't have an internet connection, even with the single player mode. So it does for most people, maybe that doesn't come to thought. I mean, Brian, when do you not have a highly reliable internet connection?
Well, I was on the plane for an hour on my way to Vegas.
Exactly.
There was a little bit of time.
Yeah, but then, and I'm in the same boat. But then you look at a whole nother group of people, which I didn't even think about, is military men and women that overseas do not have that available. And, obviously you don't build your business model around one group of people like that. That doesn't make sense. But when you're factoring out how can we get X game into so many different people's hands, that is a large group that needs to be
or
if
technology advances so much that it then requires all that processing power to do basic things like handle all the AI and the custom interactions and all these things we've been talking about with things like Spatial OS. If a game is relying on Spatial OS, you want to know what? It's not going to run on your local computer alone without an internet connection ever. Well, if you make it towards relying on the streaming services back end, you will never play that game without that streaming service ever. Yeah. So that is the danger.
Netflix and Amazon are one thing. Those are, it's a TV show. It's a movie, right? You consume it and you're done. It's
identical to the local version, other than maybe their new kind of interactive ones, which you could probably get away with on DVD still.
And the other thing too to note is, maybe this is incorrect, but like a movie or TV show, right? Those are kind of one and done things. Now, obviously, I've watched The Office a couple of times. I've watched certain shows a couple of times. Seinfeld, I must have watched Seinfeld 3 or 4 times completely. But a video game, you could take a 8-month break, and come back, and it's not a problem, and it doesn't affect the game at all. Right? But that's, or excuse me, but that could be a problem.
Yeah. Well, but and also if they're doing all these things online, like if you can you cancel? If you cancel for a while, are all your save games going to still be there?
Probably
like
not.
It's kind of one of those weird things of what happens. I know with WoW, a lot of times they keep your various things still there.
But you still have your Blizzard account.
But you still have a Blizzard account. Like it's kind of, I just don't like the idea of taking away the option of having a game that I can play without having to be tied into something else.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Very, very. This is going to be the game changer in the modern day video games, and it will be interesting to see who does it the best, price point, game library, and everything else. It's going to be super fascinating. So, thanks Polygon for stealing our content. Thanks, appreciate it.
Yep. So there you go. Now
IGN tried killing the podcast at PAX. Polygon stealing our content. I mean, we are under attack, people.
We are the resistance. That's what it is. Now, here's something somewhat related as well. And
hold on, before you go any further. USA of Zombie just said something interesting. He says, I don't own Battlefield 5. I pay $15 a month for Origin All Access so I can play it. That's interesting. Ross says the same thing. I have a buddy that does the same thing as well. See, I don't like that at all. I'd rather just pay for it and be done. But different strokes for different folks. That's the saying.
But if you actively played it and they're giving you some sort of a benefit that you can recognize beyond that, then maybe you would view it as a positive. But if you play it casually like you do and you're just every once in a while, it's going to seem like a bad deal. Just like for me, Netflix makes sense. You want to know why? Because I watch it regularly.
Brian's Netflix and chilling all the time.
I wish.
My man.
Anyways, thanks. And so on here, in relation with Steam, they've been having some issues over in France here recently.
Yeah.
And they had it to where the French courts said Valve's going to repeal this, but the French courts have made a ruling that Steam cannot ban resale of dematerialized games. And so this doesn't mean that immediately Steam's going to change anything, because they're going to be pretty much fined at this moment if they don't respond within a certain amount of time. But this is, for them, $2 million, or I think it's like $2 million that they're going to be fined, is a drop in the bucket versus them allowing people to resell games on Steam or having to deal with that.
So the crazy thing about this is because you right now cannot resell a game, obviously, but you can't sell an account either. Both of those things are not allowed in their terms of service. And a French court has decided that no, you should be able to resell your property, which is what you own. And I haven't really formed I've been thinking about this all week. I haven't really formed an opinion one way or the other on what my thoughts are on it. I don't know. I really just don't know.
What if they compromised and had like a game buyback system where you could you lose it, you don't have the option to get it back at that price, but you could sell your game back to Steam for half price?
Yeah, but see here, so okay. Well, for half price would be a terrible deal for them, because who's saying
whatever.
So then you're
or quarter price.
Okay, but then your GameStop, right? Then you buy $60 game and you can sell it back for $15, right? And people are always talking about
but then people won't have these libraries full of games, and they can't say that you didn't allow me to sell it. Yeah, we did. We let you sell it back. You no longer have the game.
Yeah, USA.
I'm trying to think of how they can compromise on this.
Well, that's the thing and that's why I haven't fully formed my opinion. I like the idea of a used marketplace where I can go and say, okay, I have a copy of, let me think of a game I've never played. I have a copy of Dark Souls 3 that I've never installed. I believe our buddy Unicorn Joe sent it to me. I would. Well, maybe this is not the best example, but I want to.
I can't believe you've never played the game that one of our viewers gifted to you.
I'm sorry.
That is the rudest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Can you look up the cost of Dark Souls 3 new on Steam right now? Because I've never played this game. It's installed. Yeah. They've changed there's not an easy way to get to the market. Oh, there it is, store page. I got it. So it looks like Dark Souls 3 is currently selling for
$59.99.
Okay, so it's a $60 title. I've never played the game. I've never installed the game. How much could I sell that for in the free market? How much would somebody willing to pay? $50? It's a new game, right? See, this is the thing. When you're talking about physical media, you've got quality of the game, right? The books that come with the game. And with this, there's no used copy. There's the digital copy is the digital copy, right? There's no degradation of that media over time. So how does that used market work? My copy is worth $55, right?
Yeah. Well, one thing interesting is they tried to defend in court. Their defense was Steam is a subscription service. That's how they were trying to say, we're not selling games. We're a subscription service.
Interesting.
What the court was like, no. You're a marketplace. You're selling individual titles. You're not. People are not paying $20 for a list of all your, for all your games. This is not a subscription service. And so they said that the court has declared they should be allowed to resell games, for $2 million. Steam is going to let this go because it's a certain euro fine per day, 3,000 euro fine per day for 6 months, and that's what it's going to cost them. They're going to let that run out, I'm sure. They're going to eat the $2 million and be like, okay, that's cheaper than us having to do anything.
Well, and this is Head Neophyte says, if they aren't going to give me a disc I can own, I should be able to sell my account. If it's digital, what do I own? I agree that I should be able to sell a copy of my game. The concern I have is how do you do that in a fair, safe, because that's the other key with this, right?
They need to create a marketplace.
That's my
just
point,
like they
What's
do
the best
for
way
the
to do
skins.
it? And I don't
just
know.
Like they have, just like they have for the skins, to have something to where you using Steam dollars are able to place, just like you do an item that you've won in game. I'm placing this game on the market. I'll sell it for this much. You know what? People are going to be willing to sell their games for cheap. So it's going to drive down the price
but
of those old used games.
Well, but it also drives down the price of new games. This could create a real
This is going to really hurt the sellers.
Well, yeah, but that's not good. Because guess what it ends up.
It's not a win-win. It's not a win-win all the way around.
No, because what it ends up doing is driving the game market price down, meaning a new $60 game that comes out is going to be like nobody is going to want to buy
half price quickly.
Because nobody's going to buy it.
A person's going to play for a week. They're going to turn around and sell it for half price.
It's just crazy. It's going to be nuts. So that's what I'm saying is I don't know.
But legally, they should be allowed to do it. I mean, that's the thing is legally, I own that. I should have the ability to sell it.
I agree. I'm not arguing that. I just don't know of a good way for that to happen right now. I'm all ears on a solution. And everything I read and watched this week, I must have watched a dozen YouTube videos about this because I couldn't form my own opinion. I was just so conflicted on it, and I didn't hear it.
It's going to hurt either the consumer or it's going to hurt. Right now, it's already been hurting the consumer because look at me. Look at how big my library is.
Look at me. Look at me.
I'm the victim here. But I also understand the aspect from the game development studios, and this is going to hurt their bottom line greatly in a market that's already expecting so much for so little at the moment. It's going to be difficult for them to actually pull this off and not have one or the other affected.
Yeah. Zombie recommends maybe a Valve minimum sale price, but the question is who controls that market and
have it to where part of the sale goes back to the original developer. So have it be, this is the best way that I can think of doing it.
Because that's another problem too. Yeah.
The thing is the second that you resell a game, that's then a copy that's not,
but the physical market's like that too. I know. I sell you a game for $30.
Have it where that whenever you sell it, there is a fee, there is a tax that goes back to the original developer, so that they still get a cut of every single resale of the game. Because if it's popular, that means it's getting resold, right? Yeah. If the game isn't popular, those copies are going to sit out there and they're not going to sell. So make it to where you're rewarding the developer for a game being popular and being resold. And that will make it so that, because if you have games that, let's say, what's the game that was less than 15 hours that you really enjoyed so much?
Firewatch.
again, a title like that, which a very good game, you want to support the developer, but you're able to beat it fairly quickly. Well, if that thing's getting passed around like crazy, that's going to really affect the Firewatch team.
I have 3 hours of playtime because that's how
you
long
beat
the
it.
game was. Yeah, which is great.
But if they turned around and said, all right, well, the developer is going to get $5. Like there's a minimum $5 the developer is going to get every time you resell this, so that the game has to sell, or whether even it's $250, whatever's realistic for the price of the game. They're going to get that every time you resell it, and that's going to be kind of the minimum sale price of the game.
Fortunately, this isn't something I really care about from a selling standpoint, because I don't sell games. I just don't. Now for the buying market, I'd be very interested if I could buy.
It'll drive down the overall price of all games.
Yeah, I just think it's bad. That's bad. That is bad, because guess what? In the short term, that's great for you and me as the consumer. In the long term, that means we're going to get real shit tier quality games, is what that's going to mean. So that I think it's a terrible
kill
idea.
The studios.
I think it's an absolutely terrible idea. It's great right now until Rockstar invests half the amount of money in their next Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto game, because they can't afford to invest however many millions. They cut that price in half, and we get a real shit tier game, which is not what I want as a consumer. So I'm all ears on a potential solution for this. It's interesting to see what the French court did. Steam is full of crap to say, oh, we're a subscription service. But in their defense, I really don't know what they can do. I mean, believe me, we're the epic shills here. I feel bad for Steam. I don't know what they can do. Right? This is such a rock and hard place situation. I don't know.
They need to stop charging 30% for every single game sold, so that more of that original price is actually going back to the studios.
But that doesn't help me as the consumer.
But the studios are already making so minimal that then if you're turning around and then reselling those games as well, like it's going to kill them.
Yeah,
they're already losing out on so much money already. These studios are struggling most times to profit and actually come out ahead on a game anymore. So
I mean, I don't know that to be.
There's not going to be any, as you said, there's not going to be big, huge, expensive titles anymore, other than from Rockstar and very specific ones. They won't be able to afford it because there's too much of a risk.
Yeah, I just don't know. And the 30% with Steam doesn't bother me. I mean, I
just think that would be. I mean, if they're concerned about, if they're going to then allow people to sell in a marketplace, they've got to figure out a way to funnel some of those funds back to the studios.
I disagree.
That's going to be their task.
I disagree. I disagree with that totally.
You don't think that part of the resale should go back to the studio?
Absolutely not. They have a single copy. That's ridiculous. That's like me having a physical copy of the game. Why I don't owe Rockstar any cut of my game. I paid $60 for Red Dead Redemption. If I want to sell it to you for $25, fuck them. I paid for the game. And just because it's a digital copy doesn't make that any better or worse.
The thing is, then Steam shouldn't be able to take a forced cut of it because they're locking you to their marketplace. Unless they totally release the games, which will kill all DRM and all that, they're going to be able to force their own cut of every single sale and have it not go anywhere else. But you're locked in their market like that. They either have to do it for free. As far as Steam,
well, no, they'll charge their transaction fee like they do right now, because you're going to buy it with a credit card.
If it's not a ridiculous, as long as it's actually a transaction fee and not a tax on a huge amount of a decent amount of the game.
No, I mean they
need to be as much hands off, because otherwise the studios will come back and say, "Why are you forcing them to your market? I can't bring this back to my market," and it's going to drive people away from Steam.
Yeah, I think Steam's got a real mess on their hands with this, and it's funny because they're the ones being crucified here. But Brian, you own digital copies of games on both the Xbox and the PlayStation, and those are can you sell those?
I can't take those anywhere else.
Absolutely not. So Steam is being crucified here by these French courts when Origin, Battle.net, Uplay, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo is doing the same damn thing, but Boogeyman Steam is Epic too. I mean, so they're all.
If this holds up in court, though, they could almost turn around and say, you know what, you've got to allow people to trade their titles. You cannot force them into a console count.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen.
I think that's the next step. That would be, because that's precedence in court. The second that they set precedence, they go and say, all right, we've done this with Steam. All right, next, here's a previous case that shows precedence with this. And once they've done it, then games will be unlocked, and then it's going to be a crazy thing for
The
developers.
Wild West.
Yeah,
We're
the
living
games are going back to the Wild West.
We're heading back to the. I saw this guy was actually outside of a French court, hanging out and talking about how these games are going to be at great prices.
Unlock my video games.
The Wild West of gaming is here. Brian was right about his cowboy
Yes.
prediction, just in a much different way.
It's a little bit different way. But hey, it came true.
Hey, that's Polygon can steal that too. Write an article about
Yep.
it. So interesting. I thought that was a really an interesting thing to come out of the French courts. And as I said, this is not just the Steam issue, ladies and gentlemen.
It's going to affect everybody. They'll see.
The
Just wait a
dominoes
year,
will fall.
2 years from now. It's how this ends up being ruled out. It's going to have a major change on everybody.
The Infection Podcast Game Marketplace coming to you soon.
I don't know. I could sell all these crazy. No more game giveaways. Sorry, I'm selling them.
We're selling for cans in chat.
Yeah, you buy this for 100 cans, you can have this game.
Yeah.
So one thing, so Elite Dangerous is celebrating their 35th anniversary. Now, what are they doing? They had a game that came out in 1984, the original Elite.
Huh.
And they're giving that away for free right now. It's in their frontierstore.net. If we'll have a link in the show notes if you want to go to that. But you can get the original Elite 1984 on there. And so they're as in celebration of their 35th year, they're giving that away. So make sure you go in and claim that. You have until September 27th to do that. So 3 more days to go in there. And actually, I take that back. There's another thing in the in-game store. They're giving away a bobblehead until September 27th.
A virtual bobblehead.
Yeah, so it's a bobblehead you can put in your ship,
Gotcha.
and it'll bobble its head. But you can go in there and get the free copy of the game. I'm not sure if that's the same amount of time. I didn't really see a date, but just make sure you go in there and claim your free copy if you're interested in that. And then they put out a pretty big patch for this as well in their September patch notes. And some of the changes, so they have their actual patch notes, and then they have kind of a shortened list of changes.
Mm-hmm.
But this is so some things they did, the new, like your starting experience as you're getting started, they made that better so that it's a little easier to get into the game, because this is one of those that just, it takes a lot to get in there and really get started in Elite Dangerous. I mean, it's one of those high learning curve games because there's just so many things going on. They also have a new cosmetic system, a way for applying the cosmetics in the game. They have a new currency in game called ARCs, and you earn these by playing the game. So you can use those to purchase paint jobs, ship kits, bobbleheads, and things like that. And you can earn up to 400 of these ARCs per week, and they get added to your account, and then you can use those to spend. You'll no longer be able to purchase game extras using the current payment methods. Instead, you're required to use these ARCs currency instead. But yeah, so this is a big change. This is our September update. Pretty much just the way that you go and apply the paint jobs, and a lot of that has been updated. So if you want to go and look at your ship and kind of apply some of these new things, you can do that. Then they also had a patch, a small little hot fix, which just fixed some of the issues from the September patch, but nothing major on that, just some little fixes. So
cool.
I think that's pretty much it for Elite Dangerous, but make sure you claim that copy.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this. So this was originally released on the BBC Model B in the 80s. Did you ever have one of those?
No, I never had one of those.
So it this is interesting. I wonder how it plays.
I don't know. I've never played it, so I'm assuming it's not going to be super cutting edge, because I remember the computers and what they look like in 1984, kind of. And well, I'm assuming that there's lines and there's dots, and
let's look up a YouTube video real quick.
So you can get a screenshot. Yeah.
Oh, screenshot. I mean, we're living in the golden era, Brian. I've got a YouTube channel. Oh God, this is. this is
I can tell the sound. That's
this
the right
is
sound
abysmal.
so far.
This is abysmal. Look at this.
Oh,
thing.
okay. Now, wait, you got to understand.
Oh, jeez.
1984, this was so advanced.
Let's see.
It almost was like it was real. You can look at the 3D of the cockpit. I mean, you don't understand. 1984.
Oh,
This was, I remember playing games like this and thinking, this is so good.
this is just I see the UI is just as complicated as their modern UI. Wow.
I would have loved to have played this back in 1984.
I mean, this is great.
You just don't understand. You got to remember what was out in 1984. It had sound. I mean, you were set.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
let's wow. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was like, holy crap.
So in 1984, Duck Hunt came out. On Nintendo.
I've got Duck Hunt in my Zapper for the actual NES.
I'm just trying to think of some other titles that were similar.
Here's a documentary about it, about making of Elite. You should check this out. I'll send you a link to this on Skype. See if you find it.
Beyond Castle Wolfenstein came out in 1984, but that's not Wolfenstein 3D. That was a very different game. Pull up Beyond Castle Wolfenstein. You're thinking of, when you think of Wolfenstein, you're thinking of Wolfenstein 3D, and we'll have to correct that because
geez, I've never seen this.
This is very different than what you're thinking.
Yeah, this is like this is a side scroller.
Yes.
Oh, this is awful. This looks awful. I would not have had the attention span to play these games. This would have been awful.
It was a different era. I mean,
well, I'm glad I'm not old like you, Brian. This is
thanks.
This is great. I grew up playing Call of Duty.
I mean, you don't know the pain of, you actually had to use your imagination back in those days.
That's why I'm so stupid. It's because the video games are just fed to me on a spoon.
Yeah. So I remember the first time that I played Wolfenstein 3D, because that was one of the first like pretty good visually graphics wise games that I had. And I remember hearing the door open because I had a Sound Blaster sound card that I had put in not too much before that. And I remember hearing the door open. And I said, it almost sounds real. Now you should pull up the Wolfenstein 3D door sound.
I'm sure there's no video of that.
Oh, there is.
Okay.
There is. I promise you. And you'll be like, okay, you thought that, you don't understand what we were listening to before. We were listening to little internal PC speakers that's on your motherboard making sounds, and then you got an actual speaker. And this is what we thought was
I'm
high end.
I'm having a hard time. There's nobody that has just uploaded that. So let's see. No, I'm not having any luck with that. But I believe.
So if you type Wolfenstein 3D with PC speaker sound.
Yeah, I see that. It's like a 4-minute video.
Yeah, but if you jump in there, you'll see him going through a door really quick.
Let's see. Okay.
I mean, there's lots of doors. Oh, okay. I mean, it's like cancer to the ears. Yeah, that.
Okay, all right. Whatever.
It was just, but the door went.
No, it didn't.
And it almost sounded like.
That's not what it did. That's not what this door did.
Oh no. Okay, so actually, that's PC speaker sound. So that's not the Sound Blaster.
I don't know. That's what the doors in your house sound like.
Yeah, that's not the right one.
You know what would be really funny is if you put like a Raspberry Pi on your doors in your house and like a little indicator, and every time you open your doors, that was the sound.
Every door goes.
No, not good. Just some really crappy 8-bit sound. Okay, we got to move on, Brian. We're already past 2 hours.
This is after show time.
I know. The lines have been blurred.
We're off the rails.
Yeah, big time.
Okay, so one thing, Arc had an update this week, pretty small. This is 298.41. They had a couple of exploit fixes, some optimizations, just various fixes. Nothing major. So that was the update they did this week. No Man's Sky, they put out their 2.12 update, and this is one where they actually have gone through and added some additional mission rewards, added a number of items that you can wear, and then I mean it's just some decent updates if you're looking for some new content. So make sure you check that out with No Man's Sky. Also, we had PUBG, which they put out an announcement for their update coming out for 4.3. This is on the test server. And this one is going to be, so it's not quite out yet. So if you go on the test servers, you'll be able to play this. But they have this new feature called Survival Mastery. So in here, you're able to go through and develop what they call less than lethal aspects of PUBG gameplay. So you're mastering just some of the little details of, you can earn XP from like looting, reviving a teammate, and you're able to progress and get XP from that. The level cap for Survival Mastery is 500 currently. And then they'll have a timeline of your map, your matches that you did, so you can go and see some of the history of that. Just a lot of information. It's mostly just showing information, redoing a lot of the UI. They'll have a new weapon called the DBS, and this is a double barrel pump action shotgun. And then they just did some improvements to the gameplay. So that is one that will be coming out probably in the next couple of weeks once they test it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you'll see it on your live.
I want to talk about XERA real quick. There not been a whole lot from them. They've been a little silent, but they're actually starting their season 1, or started it this weekend. So like a lot of other games with their season system, the idea is that they can wipe the game after a set period of time. So they're thinking every 2 or 3 months, they'll be able to do a wipe in these early seasons of the game, because they're adding things and changing things with the economy and how weapons act and perform and whatnot. So this is 4.1 that's out. They now have a vendor in game. You can sell items to the vendor that they are not currently selling. Vendor prices for multiple items have been adjusted. Vendors will now give more cash for items that are sold to them. A whole bunch of other things with the vendor as well. Certain items they can and can't buy. They've added the silver and gold bars to the game, as well as added weight to the holographic sight. It now weighs 100 grams. They added a new level up indicator on the UI, as well as added time remaining for events on the UI map. So for server specific events for that. Improved the HUD notification design and moved the HUD notification to the lower center of the screen, as well as adding a notification for killing another player. For the currency, each store / stop and gas station building now has lootable cash registers. The cash registers will give you a random amount of cash. They also have a 2% chance of rewarding a jackpot amount, and the cash registers will go on cooldown after being looted. They have ATMs as well, and those act in the same way that the cash registers do. For the skill system, we've enabled storing of skill points on the level up in preparation for the incoming skill tree, so it'll allow you to hold on to those things. They've altered the supply drop rarity. Supply drops now give you currency as well when opened, and changed the supply drop spawn rate to every 10 to 20 minutes instead of every 5 to 15 minutes, which it was before. And then just a couple of other fixes with both helicopters and vehicles and loot boxes and whatnot. So pretty big patch from them, and their season has now started. So in the next couple weeks, we'll jump in there again for Game of the Week and give it a try. And they say we've changed a lot since the early part of the game, and they want people to jump in there and give them feedback. So
cool.
It's not had the greatest of launches. It's been a little rocky. It took a real review hit on Steam, but the recent reviews are pretty positive. So hopefully things are coming around for the folks over at XERA, and we'll give them a try. If you want to buy a copy of the game, you can do so and support the show through our link. I believe it's infectionpodcast.com/XERA, XERA. And you can get a copy of that and help support the show. So XERA, we'll try that out in a couple of weeks.
So let's go ahead and I'm just going to run through some of these other updates that
Yep.
came out. So Unturned, they had on here, first of all, with their 3.19.15.0 version, they've added a new map. Then this one it's a set of a series of flying islands inspired by Japan. It's meant to be a multiplayer deathmatch. And so it also has a suite of new weapons in there and a fish launcher, which fires backwards. So some silly stuff in there, and then changes to their mystery box. items. Also, we have our ROE, which came out with a pretty decent update, a 9.19.2019, and this is their 1-year anniversary update. So on here, they've gone through and they have some anniversary exclusive characters that you can get in there. The time that this event runs is September 19th through October 16th. So make sure you go in there if you're playing ROE, play it, and you'll be able to unlock some of these features. They have some things with daily check-ins that you can get during that time. They also have a thing called Supercharged with some different game rules included in that. For instance, it significantly is increasing the loot quantity and rarity. It has, it's where the map moves faster, airdrops happen more often. So they're going to have a special mode, which is like a super loot mode and a lot of vehicles and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Also, that's 3 times the bonus is 3 times experience gained during that time. They have a free anniversary DLC that you can get, which is pretty much just some in-game items that you can win and visuals and things like that. They've also have just a regular update that they've done, added some new items to the store, and you can go in there, check in the show notes. They have pictures of the various characters you can get. A lot of stuff with their new update. Also, we have Miscreated with their 9.19 update. One thing they added is 1.4.0 and just came out here this past week. And they have base snapping. So the base building now has snapping. So should make that a lot better for your foundations. They've added those to the game. So you're not just putting down floors or ceilings or whatever. They actually have foundations in there. They've added a plated tier. So you can have stronger base parts. So the metal tier, plated tier. They have a drawbridge you can put in there now. And then they have some updates and tweaks that they've done throughout the game as well. So I think that pretty much covers all the games that we had notes for.
Wow. We got through a lot of it, even though we're running a little long. But I think it was good. A lot of good conversation. All right. With that being the case, are we ready for current players, Brian?
Yes, we are.
All right. Current players is where we look at the games that people are playing and the number of people that are playing them. Let's take a look at first. Ark Survival Evolved. Currently playing 24,516. The 24-hour peak, 39,934, with a 7-day peak of 53,515. Let's take a look at Rust. Currently playing 36,999. 58,203 is your 24-hour peak, with a 7-day peak of 73,815. And for PUBG, the current player number is not accurate. There's an issue with that game right now, but the 24-hour peak is accurate at 563,407, with a 7-day peak of 642,696. A little bit quicker current players this week as we ran a little long, and we've got to get out of here this evening. So a couple games.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on right now. It says that there are currently 6,000 people playing PUBG, which does not match anything at all. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But,
I mean, they do their maintenance for Steam, and then who knows if they're doing some sort of maintenance.
Now it's up to 9
and kicking everybody out.
Now it's up to 9,000. Which is like 70 to 80,000 lower than it normally is. So not sure what's going on.
Probably some maintenance.
Yeah, hopefully. So, all right, that's going to do it for current players, Brian.
All right, so let's go ahead and do tip of the week, where we go through and either give a general gaming tip or one for a specific game. And since we're going to be doing Dead by Daylight this week, I figured I'd do that for tip of the week.
Oh boy, this ought to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Who'd you get this tip from? Did you come up with this yourself, Brian?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Based on research.
Oh, jeez. Poser.
All right. Thank you. So, who has all the skins? Who has all the characters?
Doesn't matter. You suck at the game, so it doesn't matter how many skins you have.
So, in Dead by Daylight, but I'm set up for when I ever actually put time in the game. I'm going to have everything possible. So, when detecting a killer in the approach, they have this thing called the heartbeat that's happening. And this is also in the game known as the terror radius. And as you get better at the game, you'll be able to kind of decide the distance of the killer based on this. Now, there are certain killers, as Nick will attest to, that maybe have a special perk that allows them to not be detected. That is something that you'll have to kind of deal with and adjust your gameplay based on that type of character. But you can, as you learn, the intensity of the heartbeat, you'll generally know at what point the killer is right around the corner and about to be on top of you. Another thing that you can do is, based on the way that the killer is facing, they have this thing they call the stain that's emitted from it, and it really helps you determine which way the character is facing. So because that's one of the most important things of this, is kind of deciding where the killer is, so that you know how long, first of all, you can be sitting there and working on a generator and before you have to start running, or what are they coming towards me, and do I need to start moving away? And so this is just different ways for you to kind of detect the killer, track the killer. And then hopefully this Friday, when you join us for Game of the Week, it'll save your life. So this is Tip of the Week.
That's a very good tip there, Brian. That's good.
No,
I looked the other day.
For a newer player like me, this is just general information.
I looked the other day. In the past week, I had like 26 hours or something like that.
Then that's past my total gameplay.
I'm up to 182 hours. I know it's not the 1,000 hours that some other people have, but I haven't been playing that game. I think I started the beginning of this year really playing it.
Yeah.
So,
which is a lot of hours for you.
Yeah, not the greatest. Not necessarily something to be proud of, but I'm gonna flex my play time. And I've got to tell you, Brian, I'm really liking this. If you haven't, I'm loving the new look of Steam. I'm looking at my game list. I forced
mine to update because it's not showing me.
Dude, it's awesome. I'm telling you what, I was looking through my game list. I was like, I didn't even realize I owned half these games. Because now there's little pictures next to all the games, and you can actually like see. Before it was just well, you could have it displayed differently, but I just had the list on the left of all the names. And the names are names, but now that I can scroll through here and actually click on these, I was like, I didn't even realize I owned this game. So.
So one thing, PUBG just came out with a 6 GB update. So that is probably why everybody's down, because they're waiting for the update.
Gotcha. Well, there you go. So makes sense. Thank you.
All right. Are we ready for this game giveaway?
Sir, yes, sir.
All right. So let's go ahead and close this. And we will give this to Big Woody Sauce.
My man.
Also lovingly known as the Ross Sauce. And you have an opportunity to play games with the Ross Sauce if you join us on Fridays.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might actually be playing with us. So the world famous Ross.
Yes, he will. Yeah, he's there. Check it out. Sorry, I was reading something.
All right. So, So congratulations to Ross, and I will send you a link so you can redeem the game. It looks like it's a very fun game. I wish I had more time to play games, and I would actually redeem some of these myself. But I will live vicariously through everyone else playing my games.
Hey, it's one way to do it.
Do what you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Is there anything else before we head out here?
No, sir.
All right. Well, if you want to find me at Voice Computer on Twitter, or my blog, biteoftech.com, and make sure you join us on our website, infectionpodcast.com. And if you go on there, you notice on the right-hand side, it says join our Discord server. You can do that, and it will allow you to submit news topics for the weekly show that we do. You can join us for Game of the Week. If you want to just hang out and chat, if you want to be a part of our workout encouragement group, you can do that. Just join in Discord. They have a mobile app, and they have a web-based version, and they also have a desktop app. We have our Steam group. If you want to get a notification before the live show starts, you can just join in that, and a little pop-up will come up before the show, and you can jump in live and be a part of the game giveaway and just participate in the live chat that happens. We have our YouTube channel, our Twitch channel, our Mixer channel, and then we have links for all of our audio-only versions of the show if you want to listen to us while you're at work or driving or anywhere else. And we have patch notes and show notes for every single episode that we've done. This will be episode 245. You can jump on there and see some of the videos if you're listening to us in the audio only form, or read some of the patch notes if it's something that we said, hey, there's more information on this, you're welcome to check it out. Just check that out at infectionpodcast.com.
Absolutely. Brian, as always, thank you very much. And we will see you Friday night for my favorite, Dead by Daylight, and then we'll be back on Tuesday. So hopefully you'll join us Friday night for that, and then hopefully we'll see you here live next Tuesday here 7 p.m. Eastern. We're live on YouTube Live, Twitch, and Mixer. You can hang out in any of those chat rooms and give your feedback, win some free games, and just hang out for a couple hours and shoot the breeze. So, Brian, thank you. Thank everybody for who's joining us here live, and we will see you next week. So, all right, folks, that's going to do it for another episode of Infection, the survival podcast, your source, for all the cool things and all the great things that we do here. So, with that being the case, my name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Check out my Gab at Nick. Our website is infectionpodcast.com. That's going to do it, everybody. Have a great week. See you next time.